Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress of Comic News, episode 231. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my magnificent co-host, Mike.
Hey, everybody.
Magnificent a lot, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, I've been...
I don't care, it works.
I've been doing pretty good, as far as I can see lately, so... no complaints over here. Today on the show, I'm going to get better at this, announcing the guests right away. Cam, you gotta help me out with the last name.
Cameron Kirkue. I got to chat with him for a little bit about his book Gilgamesh.
Yeah, it looks pretty sweet. The art is fantastic. It's on Kickstarter right now. And it's almost funded. You know what it reminds me of? Do you remember that book? Not to put the spotlight on something else. Grant Morrison did a book like that about eternal gods and stuff, because he just likes to do weird shit like that once in a while.
It was about Indian gods.
Yeah.
And I read it, and I couldn't tell you the name of it either.
But it was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good book. I remember that. Yeah. It just kind of ended, though. I don't think he ever finished it.
I think Grant Morrison...
I'm sorry, they ever finished it. I don't want to misgender somebody.
Grant Morrison, I don't know what species Grant Morrison is or what planet he comes from. I would say
super God sometime. It's an interesting saga that he's lived.
Yeah.
They've lived. Damn it.
Yeah. He's he's an interesting individual, and he's taken a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
A lot of drugs. Have you
ever listened to interviews with Grant from when he was writing, I think it was The Invisibles?
No.
And they were convinced at the time that when they did DMT and shit, that they were going to other dimensions. He's like, it wasn't I was high, it was that I went to another dimension, another planet, and I saw and I'm telling the stories of these things that I saw.
And we always joke about oh yeah, every story he writes comes back to aliens. Or some type of extraterrestrial thing is in charge of it all with pushing a button or created, and it's no, he firmly believes that. That's not a plot device for him.
So a quick little note from last week's show, because I got some pushback on this, but I'm just going to tell everybody they're still wrong.
Good.
The picture or the image that was shown from Aquaman, apparently that's a stealth suit. And that it's not his suit from the movie. My criticism still stands. When you're a studio known for being way too dark and not having any color, that's a bad look for your first image. Also, I'm happy to hear that that's not the only suit of the movie, but that's my criticism still stands.
But also, why do you need a stealth suit when you live thousands of feet underwater?
I'm sure I read it because it was in a comic run.
Yeah.
But fucking... I'm going to say this. Just because it was in a comic doesn't mean it was good. I've heard that so much over the years when people defend Suicide Squad to me. They're well, that was straight from the comics. It's cool, the comic was probably shit too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I will say that, James Wan is pretty good with shit, so I have high hopes for that. Honestly,
I didn't really like the first movie, and then we're going to talk about this trailer here in a minute, and I'm not thrilled with that, and he's involved with that too.
Yeah. I don't really know I don't think they know what they want to do with the Aquaman character anymore after seeing that trailer. We might as well just talk about it. So the HBO Max original TV show, Aquaman, King of Atlantis trailer dropped. And I don't really know what to say much more than that. I don't know what type of market testing they did. If anybody's not seen the trailer, just go watch it. I think it's a minute long. First off, the color palette, it reminds me of a Trix yogurt. It's just a lot of pinks and purples.
Really, you know what it reminds me of, honestly? The color palette reminds me of Watchmen.
Does it? Yeah.
Dark purple. These colors I say I love.
Right.
I love when someone pops out a bright purple on the especially comics. But it's a very dark purple. Because if you really read Watchmen, it's a dark, colorful palette.
But the thing is, this doesn't work for Aquaman, I think. I don't really know what it reminds me, like, if I wasn't listening or like someone didn't tell me this was an Aquaman trailer, I would think it was just like a continuation of Adventure Time or something like that.
It would be if Adventure Time went to an Aquaman-like universe and was mocking it. So I know I've been known online for like DC needs to be more fun. They need to do stuff that isn't so dark and gritty all the time. But
I don't think they understand.
I think they took my criticism a little too serious. Like, you can... A, I'm not an Adventure Time fan, so you lost me there. But B, like, you spent all this time trying to make Aquaman this really cool character with Jason Momoa, and then what they're doing in the comics, and he's like, he's not a gritty character, but he's just like a strong...
He's a rock star.
He's a strong, independent woman that don't need no man. Right. But no, he's a strong, independent character that like really has some awesome story arcs recently, and then you get this, and I'm just like, you went so far the other direction that it was like too far in my eyes.
Even if they did, like, I would like the goofiness if they took the Aquaman from Brave and the Bold, the dude that was like riding dolphins and shit like that. Like, even if they took that Aquaman that still looked like Aquaman and like had a funny cartoon with him.
Dude, I love that Aquaman. Yeah, I love him.
Because that Aquaman, like, they understand the memes behind Aquaman. This one is just like, I don't know what they're doing.
That show actually is the exact right amount of fun that I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I'm so critical of DC on this, because they did it with Brave and the Bold. Brave and the Bold is such a fun and lighthearted show that is centered around a guy whose parents are dead and has gone on a vigilante mission to take out all the criminals in Gotham. Like, do that.
Right.
And it's serious at the same time. Like, it has some really cool story arcs, and I don't know.
It does.
I'm not thrilled about that. I'll check it out, I guess, but I don't see it really.
I might watch the first episode. 1. Honestly, it's almost like their answer to the MODOK show from Marvel. But even MODOK was way better put together than this. You know?
Yeah, well, see, MODOK was always kind of like jokey to me. Like, MODOK is a fairly serious character with very serious like motivations, but he always had the jokiness behind him, so it worked more with him. Where like where Aquaman, like, people who don't understand or don't read Aquaman make fun of Aquaman. They read like the 70s comics and were like, look, he's stupid.
Right.
And that's the internet conversation around him. But if you read anything like Peter David and Sense, he's actually like a really like serious and grounded character that's cool to read. But I guess we'll see.
I don't know what people are thinking. I'm guessing some people think it's for like kids, the show, but I don't even know if it's that. I think maybe kids will like it. I don't know.
I hate like pounding on a fan base, because I'm part of that fan base too. But I think what it is like when you've missed so much and you get something, you have to find the good in it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, was this marketed towards kids? I didn't watch that much of the trailer.
Well, it's marketed as an HBO Max like
exclusive
with James Wan attached, you know, and all this stuff. So like, I feel like it was because Adventure Time was never really a kid's show. I mean, it was kind of marketed as one, but it really gained an audience with really people our age. But that was 10 years ago. And I think that's what they're going for, but we'll see. I see a lot of people being positive about it, and I just don't understand it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we'll watch it. I'll watch the first episode and reconnect. Maybe we'll see if it finds us. But right now, not so much.
You know how this is what's going to happen with me, because I'm going through this right now. Have you seen that show on Hulu, Wu-Tang: An American Story?
I saw it pop up. Yeah.
And I just stare at it, and I'm like, do I want to watch this? Because there's like a solid 70% chance it's going to break my heart.
Yeah.
because that's such a cool story and it could be done so well. And I'm just like, I don't know, it's Hulu.
Yeah, well, I mean, Hulu/FX has Y the Last Man now.
FX, I would put in a different bag. I trust FX with Y the Last Man.
Yeah, I guess it's like different studios.
Yeah, to my knowledge, this Wu-Tang thing is just Hulu. So that's kind of how I'm going to go into it. It's like, do I want to watch this? Because there's a pretty solid chance it's going to break my heart.
I had heard about that coming out, but I don't really know. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. You know,
I stare at it at least once a week going, do I start it now? And then I usually just scroll down and watch Golden Girls.
Yeah. I go to Hulu for my Workaholics reruns because that show is amazing. Have you watched What If? Was that Marvel Zombies this week?
Yeah, it was Marvel Zombies. So at the end of Aquaman, when Yellow Jacket goes down into the Quantumverse and finds
Ant-Man,
his wife.
Aquaman.
A Yellow Jacket.
Yeah.
I said Yellow Jacket.
No, you said the end of Aquaman.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was like, wait, what movie? When did this happen?
You didn't get that cut of Aquaman?
No, I didn't. Man, no wonder why you didn't like it. Jesus.
Yeah, so when he goes down to the Quantumverse, instead of finding Janet Van Dyne like normal and healthy and brings her back and everybody's happy, she's a zombie and she comes back and starts zombie plague. It was very like paint by numbers zombie story, but it was fun. You got some fun moments. Sam Wilson is a zombie. Cap is a zombie.
Nice.
You end up finding out that like they're able to cure it through the Mind Stone. But, like what happens after that with Vision and how he was not able to cure Wanda. So now it's like this whole. It's almost like a governor situation where like Wanda's a zombie, so Vision's just like keeping her captive. Like, I can't kill my wife, I love her, and all this stuff.
Wow.
And then it turns into Futurama for a minute when you have Scott Lang's head in a jar, and I'm not really quite sure why, but it was still fun just to have Paul Rudd speaking again.
Yeah.
It's good. It's still. It just hasn't reached the levels of the other shows in my eyes yet.
Right.
I mean, I enjoy it, but it doesn't have that same gravitas. And I think a part of it is the anthology feel of it. But I'll keep watching it. It's still a good show.
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna binge them all at once. So I don't know if you've seen this on Twitter, but Adult Swim's been showing clips of the end of the season of Rick and Morty.
Okay.
Spoilers if people are watching Rick and Morty. I'm not caught up, but the clips have been amazing. Did you know like the last part of the season is going to be live action?
Yeah, we talked about this last week.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, but you're not caught up?
No, I haven't watched any of it yet. I'll wait till it's all out and then binge it.
Yeah. I just downloaded them, so I'm going to binge them all, and then probably by next week I'll have it ready to go. Okay, the Injustice movie trailer though. I don't know who's doing the good movies, the animated movies over at DC, but they should let them do more stuff because someone over in that department gets it. Because this trailer looks awesome. I think Injustice has such a good story, and I think I'm reading part 2. It comes out in omnibuses. There is omnibuses for like year 1, year 2. The story's just so crazy. Yeah,
and I should really like get back into watching those movies because I remember when the Justice Society one came out. Did you ever watch that one?
No. So I have a list that I need to catch up on. It's the Justice Society and then the Red Sun movie are the two that I need to watch.
Yeah, so I was super excited for it, and then it just kind of fell through the cracks. So eventually I'll get around to watching them. I actually wonder if they're on HBO Max at all.
I think, the Red Sun one is, so.
Yeah. So maybe I'll jump on that one of these days and watch them. But this, I love Injustice. I've loved Injustice for a long time. The game's great. The comic is just, if anyone hasn't read the comic series, remembering that this was a 4-issue miniseries when it was originally solicited, that lasted like 6 years.
Insane.
It's so great, and it's this. Not only is it a great story in itself, but it's also the story of the rise of Tom Taylor.
Yeah,
because that is a Tom Taylor joint,
and it's so funny. Like you can see where they in the first parts of the issues, because when I went back and reread it, where they started taking it seriously. Like Tom Taylor was writing the hell out of this book, and they put some artist on it that was like, drawing these issues. He was drawing the page in like as quick as he could digitally, and then like a few issues came out, and it was like, holy shit! Like he punches a hole through the Joker. Superman punches. And then they're like, shit, we need to get a real artist on this. And then the art started to get a lot better.
Well, it was one of their first like digital first books.
Yeah.
I think maybe Batman Beyond like 2.0 was before that, but it was like part of their initial like structure. So it was one of those books they're like, yeah, just put digital first, nobody will care.
Yeah.
And then they're like, holy shit, people love this.
Yeah. Yeah, it was we need to get an artist on this. So that's really cool. I think it looks great. The world building he did with this moment and this universe is like, you can tell stories about anybody on that world, and it'll be interesting. So,
yeah,
I'm excited.
I'm excited to get the third game in the series too.
Yeah. The is that even coming out?
There's nothing been announced, no. But
they have.
I keep hoping they're going to, because the second game was just what they did in the first game was great, and then the second game just blew it out of the water. I'm like, okay, let's keep it going, guys.
Right? Yeah, come on, give us more.
And I love this world. So,
well, speaking of games, Chris, man, what a segue!
There you go.
I didn't know what this was going on this week. I saw a lot of announcements for video games. Was this like a Sony? Oh, okay, it was the State of Play event for PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
They announced 2 games from Insomniac. Everybody was freaking out because of Spider-Man 2 was coming in 2023. And then a quick teaser for a Wolverine game. That is pretty cool, I think. We always talk about, like, why don't they make a different superhero or comic book character game that isn't just a Batman game, or like, they've been doing Spider-Man, but I think Wolverine would be pretty awesome.
Wolverine has some heritage too. People really love that X-Men Origins Wolverine video game.
Yeah,
like it's a cult classic.
Yeah, that's yeah, I remember that one too, and I think a lot of people speedrun that.
Yeah, so I'll start with Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2, the voiceover is just so obviously Kraven. It has to be. So I feel like they're going to do like Kraven's Last Hunt or something for this. Venom being in it was obvious. Anybody who played the first game saw the teaser at the end that Venom was coming. I still haven't played Miles though, just because of logistical situations and the fact that I don't own a PS5. But I'm really glad that Miles is a part of the game. Like I love that character, and it's cool to see him get more attention.
Yeah, I kind of want a PS5 after the some of the announcements they made.
Well, so if you want to go really into it, I want a PS5 not because of either of these games. They also announced Knights of the Republic remake.
Yeah, that's why I really want it.
Yeah, which really pisses me off that it's PS5 only, but I'll put that to the side for a second. It makes me want a PS5 now.
And it's weird that the remasters are the reason we want to get the PS5. Because I want the Demon Souls remastered.
Well, yeah, it's one of my favorite games of all time. And if they keep if they just kind of upgrade the graphics and make it a little bit more flow a little better, because I've played the original game recently. It's a little clunky.
It's clunky, yeah. That was my first gripe, because I never played through it. I was always told to play it. I think you were one of the people that tell me to play it. And then I got to the game, and it was very clunky. And I couldn't, I was like, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah, but I got it, when it came out on the original Xbox.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So back then, it was like, this is amazing. This is the greatest thing ever. How could it get any better than this?
Right. It can't.
But yeah, so the Wolverine, I don't care about Wolverine as a character. He is what he is. And he also has kind of that Superman complex
where he's just regenerative.
In terms of video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's the fail state in that game?
How do you die?
If you kill Wolverine, that seems kind of weird. If you run out of health, that seems kind of strange. But I'm sure Insomniac's a great studio. They'll find a way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's in good hands.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I think that's it for this week. But let's jump over to this awesome interview we have, and we'll see everybody on the other side.
All right, we're back.
And we're back to talk comics.
In the saddle again?
Back in the... I don't know how much we can sing of that before we get a trademark suit against this. I think it's like 15 seconds, right? Or something.
Okay, we got time. Let's do
back
it. No.
In the so my favorite day, Batman Day, is coming up. DC has announced their lineup for Batman Day, September 24th. Alongside their audio podcast, Batman The Audio Adventures, releasing that day. They will also release a one-shot 80-page special based on the podcast. It'll be prequel stories by Dennis McNicholas, Bobby Moynihan, Heidi Gardner, Paul Scheer, and more. I forgot they're doing Batman Audio Adventures podcast. I'm so excited for this. I can't wait.
I'm going to check it out. I want to check out one of these audio, because I've checked out a few over the years, and I always like them, but then I never check out any more.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to check this one out. It sounds cool. I don't know if I'll read unless the audio podcast is just amazing. I won't even bother with the comic. But
yeah, and it's weird because like I'm not gonna go out of my way to listen to the podcast. I'll listen to the podcast when I have free time to do so. You know what I mean? Like if I'm driving for a little bit, if I'm traveling somewhere, that's when I listen to my podcast. So it's gonna be something that I like consume at a slow pace. You know, when I have the free time.
Yeah, and I have the opposite of you, where while I work, I have an earbud in and I'm listening to podcasts.
Yeah, so you constantly have... Yeah. So
I have like 6 hours of podcasts going all day.
Yeah. See, that's where you get a little like variety in what you listen to.
Yeah.
I will say I still haven't finished the Sandman one just because it slipped through the cracks for me, but if they treat it like that with the different, you know, the voice acting and the audio in the background, I think it has some good potential.
Yeah.
Also part of Batman Day is a partnership with Fozzie Clan Gaming. This partnership will include all kinds of merch with the gaming team, and the team will appear in a special comic. I don't know who Fozzie Clan is. Do you?
No, I was hoping you did, actually.
Are they like some type of League of Legends team or something?
I didn't... They have like a bunch of different teams that do different games. Like one of them, I think their biggest one's a Counter-Strike team.
Okay.
Because I did look them up real quick, but...
Yeah, so they do... They're CSGO. They do FIFA, Call of Duty, CSGO, Fortnite. Okay, that makes sense because they did the whole Batman Fortnite, PUBG, Rainbow Six. Okay, so they don't have a team for League of Legends or Dota. That's why I've never heard of them.
Honestly, that's fun playing their video games.
Yeah, right. But those are the only teams I follow are like the MOBA.
I get
teams.
you.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, the merch is kind of cool.
Yeah.
If you look that up, but the actual comic itself, I could probably care less about that.
Yeah, if you're a Fozzie, like if this was one of my Dota teams that I follow, and they told me, "Oh, we're doing a Batman comic with the Dota team you follow," I'm like, "Holy shit!" Like,
take my money. I gotta assume with a younger crowd.
Oh yeah,
these are probably like a big deal.
Yeah,
and that's why it's happening.
I think it's awesome. I don't know who this player is, but one of the dudes is like posing in front of Batman, like Batman on the cover, and he's got 2 like Xbox controllers in his hands, but he's holding them like batarangs. That's pretty funny. Other than that, I have no interest in this. But if you're a fan of Fozzie Clan Gaming, this is pretty cool. Marvel has announced their upcoming title, Timeless, will no longer include art from Joe Bennett. Greg Land will take over his parts of the series. Marvel has also stated that they will no longer be working with Bennett, and all of his future collaborations are canceled following Immortal Hulk 50. Strange, Chris. Isn't this something you brought up last week?
I think so.
Yeah. You're like, I'm surprised they're still working with him. I'm pretty sure you said that.
I think my exact quote was, because that was announced prior to this whole, like, kerfuffle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I said, like, yeah, that'll change within the week. But, yeah, anyone doesn't know, he's had some moments that... There was one in particular recently that caught heat that I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt of, like, maybe it was a mistake, you know?
Right.
And then this image came out that is very anti-Semitic. And that's going to get you fired real quick.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not how you should be going about your business.
Yeah, and in my eyes, rightfully so. But so he lost his job, and I'm not shocked at all about this. And good for Greg Land. He gets to step up and be on a book that I'm really looking forward to. So
yeah, Timeless is gonna be sick. Jason Aaron and Mahmoud Asrar are returning to Conan the Barbarian. This new series will be titled King Conan and run for 6 issues. Holy shit, we're finally getting King Conan.
I don't think Mike's wearing his glasses, everybody. It's Muhammad Asrar.
Oh, okay. You spelled it like Mahmoud, sorry. Muhammad Asrar. But King Conan is something I'm excited about. It's something that happened at the end of the first Conan movie that we never got to see. People said it was in the works with Arnold Schwarzenegger, so we finally get a comic of it.
Yeah, and if you read Jason Aaron Muhammad's Conan run when Marvel first got the book, it's like 12 issues. It's pretty good stuff, but they tease right at the end, like, yeah, we're going to do a bunch of King Conan stuff. So here it is. I really like that run. The King Conan idea it's been aped a million times, but I love it, so I'm down for it.
Plus Jason Aaron, give him all the shit, you know?
Yes, give him everything. Give him Batman.
Give him Batman, please. Oh my god, can you imagine a Jason Aaron Batman?
Give him JSA.
Give him something.
Too bad he's exclusive to Marvel, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, good for me, but
good for you. Marvel has added another Black, White, and Blood miniseries for its upcoming titles. Elektra, Black, White, and Blood will release this December, and the first issue will include a story that nobody cares about. No, I'm just kidding. A story by Charles Soule and Declan Shelby. You're a Daredevil fan. Are you going to read an Elektra book?
No.
Okay. That's what I thought. That's like me reading Batman, and then they do like the Signal or whatever the hell his name is issue. It's like, just don't care.
I have a tough time with Elektra solo. Like, I love Elektra. I mean, Frank Miller's Daredevil is. I don't talk about it as much as I do Dark Knight Returns, but Frank Miller's Daredevil is one of the best comics ever written, and that's kind of the pinnacle of Elektra.
Yep.
But that's the problem, is that's the pinnacle of Elektra. It's been downhill ever since.
Yeah, it hasn't gotten any better.
I do like what they're doing with Elektra and Chip's Daredevil and how they twisted that, but I just couldn't see reading like an anthology book of hers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Has she really had that much done? She's been like dragged along in storylines. She wasn't like...
She's had solo books. She's had plenty of solo books. They've always tried. And fuck, I mean, Charles Soule, I love Charles Soule, but...
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see if it'll hold up.
Not for me.
But what is for me, dude, Comixology, I swear, getting Comixology Unlimited has been the best decision I made this year. And you would think that we get sponsored by them or something, as I always gush over Comixology Unlimited. I don't. We don't get money from them, you know?
Yeah.
Nothing. This is just me, straight up. Comixology is adding another title to its awesome lineup this November. We Only Kill Each Other, published by Comixology Unlimited this November from, guess who? The Rising Star. Just kidding. She's the fucking CEO now. She's the CEO of all the comic books. Stephanie Phillips, everybody, with art by Peter Krause. What?
Yep.
Stephanie Phillips killing it this year. I'm excited. I got a Stephanie Phillips book on my pull list, and I didn't have to do anything. It's a Comixology Unlimited. Let's go.
And the premise is so awesome.
What is it? I didn't even look it up.
It was like Jewish mafia members killing Nazis in the 40s.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Stephanie Phillips and Nazis? Let's go.
You kill some Nazis. Yeah, it feels like that movie, just in comic form. I can't remember the name of that movie now. And it's killing me.
Oh, Inglourious Bastards?
Yes, Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
And Stephanie Phillips doing it. I don't know if anyone knows this, but it's actually Dr. Stephanie Phillips. She has a PhD in history now.
Oh, she does.
Yeah.
Good for her, Dr. Stephanie Phillips. My bad.
So, give me all the history books, Stephanie. Just keep them coming.
Yeah.
Just make me happy.
Yeah, she did the remember she did that Jack the Ripper book, right?
Yeah.
That was really good. And I don't even like history, so if they like delivered history to like this in school when I was younger learning, I probably would have paid attention more to history, if they had comics.
I'm just gonna become a history teacher now and just hand them Stephanie Phillips comics books.
Be like,
this is the real history, everybody.
The Cold War, you just hand them Red Atlantis. You're like, that's
close enough.
Close enough. There you go. And with that, let's talk about what we read. I actually had so many books this week, dude. Oh my god.
I did pretty good this week.
I thought it was I found it kind of wonky that they released a Suicide Squad issue and the annual on the same week. That's kind of messed up to me, but it happened, and I read it.
More Suicide Squad for you.
Yeah, it's true. I guess I can't complain. I don't think I got to. No, I didn't finish reading the actual issue. I did read the annual. So the annual was Suicide Squad Annual number 1. This book revolved around Ambush Bug. Do you know who Ambush Bug is?
I do.
They're treating him like the Deadpool of the DC universe. So basically, this issue is like all the Suicide. That's
what he is.
Yeah. But Amanda Waller brings him on to the Suicide Squad because he can teleport. So her last teleporter's dead, and she needs him. So she has the Suicide Squad like all like locked up in under some trance. So she's like in their mind and has them like under wraps pretty much, and convinces them that like, I need to send you guys to hell. You need to get me the Rock of Eternity. So right now, Suicide Squad is kind of like going in the middle of Swamp Thing and Shazam, which is like, these are the 3 DC books I love the most. So to have them all kind of tying in together is fine for me. So the end of the issue, they pretty much send Suicide Squad into hell, which is awesome. And then at the end of it, they see the Hell Squad, which is a bunch of characters. I do not know. One of them looks like Zorro. One of them looks like a Court of Owls character. And then there's like this like, I don't know if you can see this, Chris, but it's like oh, that's not working. I'll show you later. But there's like a wombat looking character. I think these are just like maybe like the rejects of hell that have like almost like a Suicide Squad. They almost look like Marvel characters to me, but it was a great issue. I mean, the whole fourth wall breaking shit was kind of weird because like I'm not a huge fan of that stuff.
Yeah.
But it was good. Shang Chi number 4, Jean Luen Yang, DK Ruan on the art. This book, so probably one of my favorite Marvel issues because this is Shang Chi and the Fantastic Four in this issue, folks.
There you go.
Shang Chi is getting visions from he thinks it's his sister, and he goes to Master Ling and he's like, "Where are these visions coming from?" He's like, "Let me look in your mind." He's like, "Dude, I can't find them because it's in the Phantom Zone." So he goes to Reed Richards. So basically this run of Shang-Chi, he's been, he's the leader of the Hand now of the like kind of crime syndicate, the bad guys, but he's the leader, so he can it's basically his birthright, so he has to do it. But a lot of the Avengers are kind of like, I don't really want to help you because you're not associated with good. You kind of, do things for yourself and you break the law. So he goes to Reed Richards. He's like, "Dude, I need to get to the negative zone." Reed Richards is like, "Wait, you're leading the Hand?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I can't help you." And then he like hangs up on him. So naturally, him and his team break in to it's not Star Labs, wherever Fantastic Four is.
I think they're on 4 Yancey Street now. haven't read Fantastic Four in a while, but I'm pretty sure that's where they're at.
It's not the Fantastic Fourplex. I don't think that's real, but so
it should be.
They break in and they break out. Well, they find out it's his mother that's trapped in the Phantom Zone. She's still alive. They get her out, and someone's calling to her. She's definitely not okay because she had been in the Phantom Zone for so long. But there's this whole fight with the Fantastic Four, and then at the end, Reed Richards calls up Captain America, and he's like, "Cap, we got to talk about Shang Chi because he's becoming a problem." It's a really good run so far. This is a pretty interesting book. Army of Darkness, 1979. So this book starts off with Ash Williams. This is Evil Dead, everybody. Ash Williams is trying to get a job as a lumberjack because if you know, he's got a chainsaw attached to his arm. And that's pretty much how he sells it.
Natural fit.
Yeah. But he still has a shotgun he's carrying around, and the guy's like, "Oh, so you already have your tools with you?" He goes, "Yep." So then he cuts down a tree for the guy, and he's like, "Oh, you're hired." But as you know, every time he tries to get his life in order, he gets sucked back into another portal. So he goes back to 1979 in New York City, where all these weird gangs are like fighting each other in New York. And one of the gangs calls himself the Warlocks. So they're carrying around the Necronomicon and creating deadites and stuff. And by the end of the issue, he's fighting deadites, and then he's fighting all these like New York City cops, but they're miniature cops. It's awesome. And because it kind of takes place in real time. Obviously, Ash Williams doesn't age because it goes from like 2021 to 1979. It's like a Warriors meets Army of Darkness. Masters of the Universe Revelations. This is the Kevin Smith Masters of the Universe that I wouldn't shut up about when it came out. This book's really good. Art by Mindy Lee. So they focus again on Evil Lynn, and I get the sense that like they really like her character, and I was really interested in this issue. It's more of her origin, why she adopts the magic, because she was kind of mistreated as a kid, and then Skeletor shows up and gets her to like kind of move to the dark side. He's basically saying like if you don't use your powers, you're basically limiting yourself unless you start using your powers for evil. The issue wraps up with He-Man and I can't remember her name, but He-Man and his like partner show up at Grayskull to fight Skeletor. So this book is going to bring us right to the first episode of the TV show. So I'm sure there's going to be some fighting happening soon. Batman. This is the end of the Fear State, I think. Maybe not. I hope so.
What issue is it?
This is issue 112. James Tynion and Jimenez, and the art's fantastic. I mean, this story is kind of interesting. So Batman's tripping balls. He's gotten poisoned by like really tripping balls. Like the opening picture is like him like freaking the fuck out, and his pupils are all fucked up. So this Saint from Saint Industries, he's released his Peacemaker 01, but Peacemaker 01 has been infected with fear gas. So he thinks like all these like dead citizens are all over Gotham, but they're alive, and he's like freaking the fuck out. So he's like compromised. Saint realizes that, so by the end of the issue, he creates another Peacekeeper. He calls Peacekeeper X. That's like fully upgraded, but hasn't been like approved by the city or anybody. And he pretty much says like you need to go take control of the city and kill Peacekeeper 01 because he's lost his shit. Peacekeeper X is awesome. He's like this black suit with like a red X on him. He looks like Red X. It was a cool issue because like it goes back and forth of like how Saint was like marketing Peacekeeper 01 as like one of the Gotham's sons and heroes to like take care of the city. And then also Batman's recovering from this fear gas as he's talking to the Oracle and some of the Bat family, and all of the citizens that were in the Unsanity Collective, all the like weird hipster people are living down in Poison Ivy's like little forest she created under Gotham. So there's a lot going on here. I mean, I thought it was a pretty solid issue. I'm just ready for a new Batman writer. I just get over these story arcs. Like, I feel like we shouldn't spend so much time in every Batman story arc. Like, a Batman story can be 2 to 3 issues and just move on, you know?
Yeah. I wish, Batman's could... you can do these big story arcs and they work.
Right.
And like even when we were reading Scott Snyder together, I can't remember if we were doing the show during that or not.
Yeah,
that might have been before the show. But I remember me and you even like once we got to year 0, we're just like, okay, like I'm enjoying this, but can we just have like a few off issues every so often?
Right,
where it's just like he punches Gentleman Ghost and we move on.
Yeah, right. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I read Black Manta #1. This is by Chuck Brown.
Yeah, you did.
Valentine Delandro. I thought it was solid. I probably won't continue reading it just because it's not really my cup of tea. Did you read this?
I did, and I loved it.
Okay, so you loved it. I think you really need to be an Aquaman fan to get into it, which you are, so I'm glad that you liked it. Because I read it, and I was like, okay, this is good. Maybe you can explain to me a little more of, like, is something happening at the end there with that character?
So there's that side team that is... to my knowledge, something I'm not too familiar with, possibly something new.
Yeah.
But the Manta stuff was really solid.
Yeah,
him kind of dealing with who he is, and it fits to where he is in his life right now. Like, remember Jackson Hyde is his son, so the person who's becoming Aquaman is the son of Black Manta, and they're kind of dealing with that whole thing where there was a fight back. I think it was during Kelly. No, it wasn't Kelly Thompson. I forget the writer, but it was during a run, and they kind of dealt with that where Jackson and him had a fight, and he was kind of dealing with the fact that, you know, he's kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And it seems like that it's there's reverbs from that and this, where he's like really dealing with like, who am I and what's my legacy and, you know, what do I do?
Okay.
But at the same time, he's still Black Manta. He's still kind of an asshole.
Right.
And then you got the side team that's connected somehow, and I don't know quite how, other than the fact that they got the stone and they found a way to get into it. So I'm sure in the next issue we'll learn more about what that stone is and how it's affecting different people, most importantly Black Manta. And I love the art. The art was really cool. It was something different. It was much simpler and just had really, like, the colors throughout it were very just flat and almost cartoony in a way. I liked it. Yeah,
it was good. It was good. It's not something I continue reading. I might read it all when it's in a trade, probably.
Yeah, I could see. It would be like, I don't know, who's Shang Chi's biggest villain?
Yeah, right, exactly.
You know, like...
yeah, I get it. Batman, Catwoman. Did you read this?
No.
I'm kind of just over this. I don't know much to say other than that. Like, you know, I'm only really caring about the real time stuff. They arrest Catwoman, and I don't think she's going to stay arrested for long. She, like, turns herself in.
Nope.
That's really all I have to say about it. I read Dark Ages, though. Holy shit, that book was awesome. You're right.
Yes, I love that
Tom
book.
Taylor book. That book.
Yeah.
That book. Like, I read that 10 times over Batman, Catwoman. I'm just... and then the last two really good stuff here. We got Swamp Thing. Ram V, Mike Perkins. This is #7. So they find Heat Wave, and he's pretty fucked up from Swamp Thing. So one of the people in the Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad's been sent to capture Swamp Thing, because to Amanda Waller, Swamp Thing is like intelligence on everybody in the world. If you can tap into the green, you can spy on anyone at any time.
That's true.
And it's untraceable. It makes sense. Like, the motive makes sense. Meanwhile, Swamp Thing is like trapped in a trance where he's having conversations with his father and grandfather because he wanted to sell this land in India to make his town, like, you know, bring prosperity to the town, industry, blah, blah, blah. But it's like sacred land that he had them demolish, and he kind of went against his father, and then his father ended up dying in the whole process because his people were protesting it. So you kind of find the origin of this character. It's really interesting, but the whole point of this is that one of the Suicide Squad members is like tearing this out of him, like finding out the origin and why he's so like tortured. But as he's doing that, he kind of says like he has this resolve, or like he comes to this realization that like sometimes the cure to this isn't to remove it, like remove the pain, you just have to carry the burden. And so she pretty much is like, damn, well, I can't break him anymore. Like he's, I can't convince him to not think the way I want. So she's like, I'm leaving, but Chemo comes in, and Chemo is just like, he's this villain that's just all these chemicals with like a headset and like a mouthpiece that he just looks ridiculous. So he's been going around like blasting the forest with his chemicals and like radiation. And she goes, all right, Chemo, I'm leaving. I tried. And his word bubbles are hilarious because they're just like gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. Like he can't speak. So he walks up to the cave where Swamp Thing was like passed out laying in, and he just like he just throws up in it like all this like radiation and shit, and the word bubbles like black, and that's how the issue ends. Like Jesus. Like he's fighting Chemo in the next issue. So dude, this book is ridiculous. The art is amazing. Like Mike Perkins' art is fantastic. But I really love Swamp Thing. If you're a Swamp Thing fan, you love this book. Check it out. And then we had Blue and Gold, man. What a time to be reading DC right now. Did you read Blue and Gold?
I still have number 1 on my list, and I haven't read it yet. So
basically, I mean, Booster and Ted, like, Blue Beetle is getting pushed out of his company because he promised like to make this product that was unhackable, and it gets hacked by these criminals. Meanwhile, Booster Gold is saying that like he's backed up by all these billionaires, and he says that like he goes public and says that him and Blue Beetle didn't want to be in the Justice League. They want to help out the little man with villain stuff. Like we'll be there to they're going to be storefront heroes. They're going to they're going to take care of those issues that require special attention. So he basically goes out and says like, I'm going to help you all out. And Blue Beetle is kind of just like, oh man, like I don't have any money. He basically has to drive around in a dune buggy because he can't afford to like fix his ship or anything. So it's just a great issue. It kind of justifies why Booster Gold wants to put all his fights and interactions like live for the public to see. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I can't say enough about, like, if you're a Booster Gold fan, you'll love this book. I think it's going to be a lot of fun because it's only 8 issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 of 8. Dan Jurgens is doing a great job. And yeah, I think check it out. And that's it for me.
You didn't read Infinite Frontier?
No, I didn't get to it.
Okay, so
it's the last issue, right?
Yeah, it's tough to really talk about because it sets up a bunch of shit.
Okay,
and that's kind of the book. We get the big like ending fight as you would expect, and then Darkseid sends everyone away and says like, I'll deal with you all later. And there's literally a bubble in here where like after that, President Superman's like, tell everybody to come in. And then there's like a bubble after that. It's like, this will be continued in Justice Incarnate #1. Check it out.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And then we get a connection to the Leviathan book, which I'm like a few issues behind on.
Yeah, I don't even read that book.
Yeah, but it just explains why Bones is over there and why he's like the way he is in that book. And Roy Harper gets his like where he's going to be next, which anyone that pays attention knows he's going to be in the Titans. And then we get like the big villain speech from not Thanos, Darkseid.
Nice.
About like, I'll come back for you, Justice League. And I'm really confused by the ending because in all this mess, Flash gets lost, and he ends up in, which made me laugh. He ends up in the Multiverse 2.
What?
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Which is the multiverse that existed before the original Crisis.
Oh.
And he's there as all the Earths are crashing together and being destroyed.
Interesting.
And that's when Pariah shows up and puts him in his own little world inside of the second multiverse, which creates Earth Flash 1.
What?
Yeah. It then goes on to say, like, will be continued in 2022. So there's obviously going to be a follow-up to this. But all in all, I thought the series was really good. It had great moments throughout it. These last 2 issues were really just big epic fights and kind of wrapping up story arcs and then setting up new ones. But I really liked it, and I think anyone reading DC should read it if you're into the overall world building. Savage Avengers 24. This sets up the final battle with Colin Gaff, and basically he ends up winning and taking over the world. And we have this like alternate timeline in the year, what was it, 2046, where he just has control of the Earth. And there's no more heroes.
Oh.
And he just has Doctor Strange on a cross, torturing him endlessly.
Okay.
Like he brings in, at one point he brings in a horse, and it's the last horse in existence on Earth, and just kills it right in front of him to be like, this is the last one, and it's now extinct. This is how much I hate you. And then Doctor Doom shows up and gives this whole speech and ends up saving Doctor Strange. But it's not Doctor Doom, everybody. We find out it's Conan the Barbarian. And I'm trying to remember what the end was. And yeah, so then there's this whole speech from Strange where he's just like, yeah, you can't save me. I'm already dead, so just leave me be. And he uses what little magic he has left to send him across the city. And Conan goes down and ends up writing. We end up finding out that the way he's been saying sane through all this time and hiding is by writing down the date and keeping track of time.
Oh.
Which is how we know it's actually 2043, not 2046, but whatever. And he writes it on the tomb of a pharaoh, and that's when Kang the Conqueror shows up, and it's just like, how dare you? And points a gun in his face, and that's the end of the issue.
Oh.
So it's a cool, like, we got an alternate timeline thing. I like this team. And obviously now it's just going to be a Conan book for a few issues, but Savage Avengers is really good. I think a lot of people are sleeping on it, and I would highly recommend it.
Cool.
So this is the first week in my move to going more digital. I have more digital books than I do physical.
Nice.
Billy the Kid #1. We talked to Justin Gray about this.
Yep.
It's everything he said. It's a Western, but the main character is a rabbit. And we end up finding out this rabbit is like very sickly and has to stay in his house while the rest of his family comes to this giant picnic. And his father is like a very strict priest. And this is all taking back in the 1800s, probably. I think timeline-wise, like it takes place in a different world.
Okay.
But they're obviously aping post-Civil War America.
Right.
Okay. So his dad's like this very fundamentalist priest who instills like the word of God in him and all this stuff. And then a tornado comes and kills his whole family. But because he was sick and stayed inside, he lived through the whole thing. And he ends up finding out that not only is like all this this Christianity stuff bullshit, because he finds out there's like other gods, and there's like gods of tornadoes and gods of the sun, all this other shit. And he meets this goat who basically treats him like shit the whole time, but he keeps begging him to like train him so he can kill one of these gods. And the goat eventually agrees. We then like kind of flip forward to, there's 2 parts of this book. So there's that and it ends, and then it flips to the future where he's a full grown kid and shows him killing one of the tornado gods. And it's this like giant ugly frog looking thing. And he saves a town and he becomes a hero and all this stuff. and then moves on because he ended up finding out the god who actually killed his family. I really liked it, actually.
Cool.
If you can read through, I know some of the mythology, especially like there's a lot of Christianity talk throughout it, but it's used in a way to kind of change that character where he's grown up to be in this fundamentalist lifestyle, and then he realizes it's all bullshit. If you can read through that, I really liked it. And I like that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
good issue and great art. Awesome art. Defenders #2. The Defenders find Galactus' mom and the fifth universe prior to their universe, and they try they end up meeting Galactus as a baby, and then they see the Galactus from the previous universe. It's a lot of fucking multiverse weird shit, Marvel shit. The art's fantastic. I love the story. If you're not like a heavy Marvel reader, don't pick up this book. It's a lot of like backlog Marvel stuff. So, but I liked it. Ordinary Gods #3. Our character is like kind of coming to grips with the fact that he's a tyrant and the god of gods.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of him talking about that as he's like trying to flee the states because he's being chased by the FBI. And then we get a glimpse of the other world and how they transfer people into Earth, because Earth is a prison for these gods. And we meet these 3 characters who are assassins, and they're sent to Earth to take out the god of gods. And it's kind of weird because when they're sent to Earth, there's this like image of 3 women giving birth. And then we see that the kids that are birthed are these 3 assassins. So I'll be interested to see how he weaves that into the story. If that was just like a starting point, and like on issue 50 we get a conclusion. And and they're trying to find another god. It's a really good book. It's just kind of when you talk about the story plots, it can sound boring, but I love it.
Nice.
And then Mazebook #1, Jeff Lemire. This is it's also drawn by Jeff Lemire, so I like Jeff Lemire's art. I know a lot of people don't.
Yeah, it's to each his own, you know.
It's the beer of art. It's an acquired taste.
There you go.
Or the IPA.
The IPA. Yeah.
So we get this guy he lost his daughter at a very young age. She was 11 when she died. And you get the glimpse of him throughout his days where he's just kind of going through the motions. Like he's very depressed and just doing what he's got to do to get through the days until he dies. And he has these glimpses of his daughter, and he tells you remembrances of her. And that's basically the entire issue until we get to the last couple of pages when he gets a phone call in the middle of the night, and he picks it up, and it's his daughter telling him that like she's stuck in this maze and he needs to come save her. And that's where the book ends.
What the hell?
So there's obviously something supernatural going on. I mean, it's Jeff Lemire. There's gotta be something fucking weird going on.
Yep.
But it was a good first issue. I think he didn't do a great job of sucking me in, but because I'm a fan of his, I'm going to keep reading.
Yeah.
This might be one I'll let everybody know, but this really feels like one of those things that he should have just released as an OGN. But I've only read 1 issue, so we'll see. And I think that's everything for me.
Cool.
That is. So, Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
They can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter, and they can find the show at FortressComics_ on Twitter. Also at FortressComicNews.com. Everybody gets reviews in the podcatchers. Like, subscribe, share, comment down below on the YouTube. And for that extra, if you want to go to the extra mile, patreon.com/FortressComics. Any patrons there is always greatly appreciated. Stay tuned for another episode this week because I've got another interview coming up that's going to be really cool and y'all are going to love it. And the next couple of months are going to be jam-packed with interviews, everybody. So I hope you all enjoy it. So for me, I will see you all here next week. For Mike, I think he's taking a week off, everybody.
I needed to.
So
stressful. Yeah.
Too much Chris is not a good thing.
Nah.
So he will see you here in 2 weeks.
I'll be back in 2 weeks.
Thanks for listening, everybody.